This summer is flying by. Children will be headed back into the classroom in a few weeks. So on today's To Your Wellbeing, we're talking about steps to take for a healthy school year. It is not too early to start thinking about this. That is why we're joined by Cone Health Pediatrician Nicole Chandler. First up, back to school shots. How important are they that our kids get these?
Vaccines are our first line of defense against very serious diseases. It's really important that all kids are up to date before they start the school year, for sure.
What do you do if your kids are a little behind on their vaccines?
So no worries, it's really common. A lot of people have gotten behind during the pandemic. Just call your pediatrician's office and they'll be able to typically fit you in. I know in our clinic, we fit patients in as vaccine visits if they're behind, because we know how important it is to get these in before school starts.
Which ones are the most important?
Well, of course, the school requires certain vaccines. So we recommend that all the children get all of the vaccines required by the school, which are also supported by the AAP. You can look at the CDC website to see. There's a pretty long list. I think I'd bore you if I tried to tell you all of them right now. The ones that we want people to not forget are, of course, the COVID vaccine, as well as the normal school-required vaccines.
Which kids can get the COVID vaccine now?
So good question. The AAP and the CDC both recommend that children 6 months and older receive the COVID vaccine, and that children that are 5 years and older receive the COVID vaccine and the booster when they're eligible.
And is that a one shot or a two shot for the kids?
Well, so it would be the normal vaccines would be the 2 shots, of course, and then the booster vaccines as well.
Okay, the next question a lot of parents want to know about is sleep. Kids like to stay up all hours of the night during the summer. How do you get them back to a normal routine?
Yes. And as a parent myself, we also deal with similar things, but it's good to start to get them back into a normal routine a week or two before school starts, because those early morning awakenings can be really hard if you don't have a little bit of practice time before that. And what we don't want is for them to start school and that be the first week that they're waking up really early and them just to be completely exhausted and unable to concentrate or pay attention.
How much sleep do kids actually need to be able to concentrate?
Probably more than most people think. Grade school students usually need near or up to 10 hours per day. High school students, grade school 10 to 12. High school, at least 10.
Did you just say 12 hours of sleep a day?
Up to 12 hours of sleep. Yeah.
Wow, why is that so important?
Well, it's a time where our bodies and our brains are able to rest, recoup. And remember, one thing we forget about children that's very different than us is that they're growing. Every second of every day, they're growing.
And to grow takes sleep, I guess.
To grow, to learn, to think, to concentrate. Mm-hmm.
Is there any kind of foods that we want to start to get our kids on now to keep them healthy and be able to grow and to concentrate?
I think a few things that are really important, because we see problems in clinic, are making sure your kid gets a good breakfast or gets food for breakfast before they leave the home. We will often see kids who come in who haven't had breakfast, and they'll come in for a variety of different reasons, having become a little lightheaded at school, not concentrating. We've all felt hunger. And when you're hungry, it's really hard to concentrate and it's hard to think. So a good breakfast and making sure they have food for lunch are both really important for kids at school.
Okay, when the parents are trying to get the kids ready, they don't really have time to cook a super healthy, intense breakfast. What's a quick, healthy thing they can feed their kids?
Well, I think if you have a few minutes, toast with peanut butter if you're not allergic, will pack a lot of nutrition. Oatmeal, yogurt. If you're really in a crunch for time, you could always grab a granola bar, but I would really look and see at the ingredients, how much of that granola bar is sugar, what else is in it, look at your protein content, and make sure what they're eating will give them some some good nutrition and energy for the day.
Well, great. There's so much more important information about how to keep your kids healthy as we head back to school. That's coming up on the other side of this break. Hey there, we're back with Cone Health pediatrician Nicole Chandler talking about how to keep our kids healthy as they head back to school. Right now, a lot of kids are starting to feel that stress of having to go back and anxiety about getting back into the routine. What would you tell parents to help out their kids?
So there is the anxiety, both the scared anxiety and the excited anxiety. And so keep it positive. Remind the kids of all the fun things that they're going to do, all the friends they're going to meet. Also, listen to your children and hear what they have to say about what they're most worried about. Sometimes just sitting down and listening to our kids talk and giving them that time of day to really know that you're listening and you hear them can really go a long way.
Are there signs to look out for to know if your child is anxious?
Depending on the age, younger kids will sometimes have kind of some bodily signs like bellyache, headache, as reasons that they might not want to go to school, or as, things that show their anxieties or their fears.
What about before school starts? Are there things we should be looking out for?
In terms of their behavior, particularly?
Yeah, like could they be acting out more?
Yeah, they could be acting out. They could be being fearful of things they normally aren't fearful. I don't want, I'm afraid to go to bed. I don't want to go to bed, but you always go to bed okay. So sometimes it'll bring out things that they're not normally fearful of. It'll bring out bad behavior in a good kid. And so kind of paying attention to the way they're acting and also giving them a little leeway to understand they have what to us might not seem like a big stressful event coming up the start of school, but for them it's kind of a stressful event, exciting and stressful event. So kind of paying attention to changes you see, not worrying yourself as a parent, and then listening to them and talking to them.
Yeah, there are a lot of parents worried and stressed right now. What would you tell them?
I would say first try to think about, well, what are you most worried about? Are there things that you're worried about that are very specific? If there are, I would reach out and meet your child's teacher early. Let some of those fears be known. Sometimes as parents, our fears are related to, we are just fearing kind of the same things that our child is fearing. It's new, will I meet friends? And try not to let those fears that you have show or rub off onto your child. Instead, try to keep a positive attitude and really talk about all the fun things that will happen when school starts.
Lots of fun things indeed. Like playing sports with their friends, and kids who want to play sports will need a sports physical. This is different from a well child exam. So what is a well child exam and why should they get that also?
Well, yes, they are and they aren't different really. So the sports physical form is a form that your regular doctor can fill out. And it's a great time to get it filled out is when you come for your well visit. Because the sports physical form is really something that it's a way that we pediatricians, family docs, nurse practitioners, PAs, etc., can tell the coach, this is a problem that this child has, and these are the signs of it, and this is what you need to do when it shows up. For example, asthma. So the sports form can be done at the same time as your well child visit. And like I said, it doesn't have to be in the summer. So if your child comes in for a visit in December, tell your doctor they're going to play sports. They're going to play spring, fall, summer, whenever sports. And if you don't have the form, we can get it online and print it out, get it done and over with, so you don't have to stress in the summer.
Very helpful for parents indeed. Thank you so much for all of the knowledge you imparted to us today. All of this is going to be up in a little bit on WFMYnews2.com. Just check out the 2 Wants to Know section, and good luck to all those kiddos heading back to school.